All right, today we are diving deep into Ocean Vuong's incredible novel, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. Now, I just want to say up front, this isn't going to be your typical plot summary. Instead, we're going to get into the very heart of the book. The fact that it's written as a letter from a son to his mother, a mother who can't even read. And we'll explore the huge themes of memory, trauma, and language that just pour out of that one central idea. This right here, this is the question that beats at the very core of the entire novel. I mean, just think about that for a second. How do you pour out your entire existence, everything you are, for the one person you want to understand you the most, when you know she can never, ever access the words you've written? It's a dilemma that sets this deeply intimate and, yeah, heartbreaking tone from the very first page. And this opening line, wow, it just perfectly captures the central paradox of the whole story. The narrator, who we come to know as Little Dog, is using language, the very thing that signals his education and his life in America, to try and bridge the gap with his mother. But at the same time, that very tool, his literacy, is the thing that creates this massive, unbridgeable chasm between them. So let's really dig into this idea of an impossible communication. The entire book is framed as this one-way conversation, you know? It's like a message in a bottle thrown into an ocean that's never ever going to reach its intended shore. And that's the fundamental tragedy of it all, isn't it? This letter is this beautiful, brutal, and incredibly honest story of their life together. It's filled with memories of Vietnam, their struggles in America, and Little Dog's own coming-of-age story. But it's an archive she can never open. It's a story told for her that she will never hear in his own written voice. So this brings us to the way the narrator paints this incredibly complex picture of his mother. And it's a portrait that's made up of all these conflicting memories, showing her as this figure of both incredible love and sometimes terrifying violence. The book is just filled with these jarring moments that sit right next to each other, showing this contradiction. You have the same mother who could lash out with so much force that a gallon of milk jug bursts on his shoulder, and she's also the one who would get on a terrifying roller coaster, facing her own fear just to comfort her son. It's this duality that Little Dog is constantly trying to make sense of. And look, this isn't just about good days and bad days. The trauma and the affection are all tangled up together. In one moment of sheer panic for Little Dog, his mother reaches for the only English song she knows, Happy Birthday, not because it's his birthday, but because it's the only tool she has in her toolbox to try and soothe him. Her love is always working within the really painful limits of her own history. Now this is a huge turning point. Faced with all these contradictions, Little Dog doesn't just forgive his mother or forget what happened. He does something else entirely. He starts to redefine his terms. He begins to look at the word monster, not as an accusation, but maybe as an explanation for who his mother is, and by extension, for who he is. He realizes that a monster isn't just a villain. If you go back to its original meaning, it's a kind of messenger, a hybrid being. And for Little Dog, his mother, who was shaped by the catastrophe of war, is exactly that. She's like a lighthouse, a place of shelter and a warning of the dangerous rocks below, all at the same time. And this idea of being shaped by war brings us to the family's language itself. The way they communicate, or really the way they can't, is just deeply scarred by their history with the Vietnam War. There's this one scene at the Seatown butcher that is just absolutely devastating. It shows a complete breakdown of language. The mother is reduced to charades, mooing and pointing at her own body, just getting humiliated in public. And the final blow comes when she turns to her son, her translator, and he's totally powerless to help. They just leave, wordless and ashamed. This quote, man, it explains everything. Their Vietnamese is an orphan, you see. It's cut off from its home, totally frozen in the 1970s when his mother's schooling was stopped by a napalm raid. So for them, speaking Vietnamese isn't just speaking a language, it's like summoning the ghost of the war with every single sentence. And you see this haunting echoing down through the generations. The grandmother, Lan, she lives in a world where the 4th of July isn't a celebration, it's a re-traumatization. For her, the sound of fireworks is impossible to separate from the sound of mortars from her past. The war isn't just a memory, it's a living, breathing thing. All this inherited trauma, of course, shapes their identities, and it starts with the names they're given and the names they choose for themselves. So you hear a nickname like Little Dog, and it sounds strange, right? Maybe even a little cruel. But it turns out it's an act of profound, desperate love. According to the superstition from their village, if you give a child a worthless name, you make them invisible to evil spirits who are looking to steal away beautiful, healthy children. A name becomes a shield. And all of these threads that we've been pulling on, memory, trauma, love, language, they all start weaving together here in these powerful concluding ideas, all centered around this concept of becoming fireproof. Vuong brings in this absolutely beautiful central metaphor, the monarch butterfly. Their migration is this epic journey of survival, but here's the crucial detail. The butterflies that fly south, they never come back. It's their children born along the way who make the return trip north. Only the future revisits the past. And Little Dog, he's that child. And then, boom, he connects that metaphor directly to his family's story. Suddenly, the butterflies aren't just fleeing cold weather anymore. They're refugees, fleeing the fire of war. Their beautiful fragile wings become this testament to surviving an inferno. This brief memory, it just says so much. Haunted by a life where fire could literally rain down from the sky, his mother's deepest desire is for safety, for something, anything, to be fireproof. And her young son, who can't even read the tag yet, gives her the answer she needs to hear. He lies. He lies out of love, offering this promise of safety that he knows isn't even real. And it all leads to this. Little Dog finally accepts the full, messy, complicated truth. His mother is both a mother and a monster, a product of her history. But he realizes, so is he. He's also a hybrid, a survivor. And this letter, this entire novel, is his attempt to finally see her completely and to force her and us to just look at their truth. That final word, look, is an invitation to witness everything. And it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? How much of our own family histories have we been unable or maybe just unwilling to truly see?